This is the Midwestern Whisper. It wasn't too long since my last recorded whisper. As a matter of fact, less than a full day. I just sort of felt like whispering again. It really brings some peace to me to be able to whisper. And I hope it brings some peace to anyone that hears it. This is whisper number 9. I'm now up to 7 subscribers, which compared to some of you guys, that's absolutely nothing, but little by little, trickle by trickle. I've only been at this a week or so, so I guess it's not so bad. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I like to write. I write short stories, which are generally about 30 pages long. Some shorter, some longer, but that's my average. I've been writing since I was at least 12, and I'm 37, so I've been at it a long time. About 7 years ago, I made not a real strong attempt, but I did make an attempt to get a couple of short stories published, which requires mailing the manuscript, plus sending them a stamped envelope so they can return a reply to you, which may not seem like a big deal, but you have to print all the paper. You have to put that stamp on there and make sure it's mailed with them, as well as a manila envelope or some form of mailing, not to mention the postage. One or two or three probably wouldn't be that big a deal, but anybody that seriously has a need, and not really a need, but if you really want to be published, you can't just send it to 2 or 3 people, especially if you've never been published before. If you're a complete unknown, it can cost you a lot of money. The time and effort to try and get published, it's almost easier and practically cheaper in the long run to just publish yourself for between $500 and maybe $2,000 US dollars. You can have these might be old numbers, but I think it was something like 100 paperbacks published for about around $2,000. But of course, you got to pay some money to get them out to people, be that a website or other means. So, there's lots of work, and it's frustrating because almost everyone's going to shoot you down. Some give you constructive criticism. Some are a little more rude. Occasionally you don't get a response at all. But I somewhat expected it. Sending out about 30 manuscripts across the country. At that point I didn't want to spend any more money. Anyway, it's frustrating. But I continue to write anyway. I have many stories. Most of my stories are along the lines of either thriller or science fiction, or a combination of both. My stories are sort of like Dean Koontz or Michael Crichton. Sometimes they get kind of technical, like Michael Crichton, and other times they are more simple. So basically I write for myself. A few people have read some of my stories. But anyway, I also write poetry. And I keep my poems, which are around 360 of them now, on poemsandquotes.com. And that's POEMS hyphen AND hyphen QUOTES.com. And that's not my website. I'm not promoting it in any way besides telling you that that is where I keep my poems, and you're more than welcome to go check them out. I've been writing for, these poems anyway, I've been writing since 2004. I welcome you to check it out, and if you do, just do a search for members, and I'm revealing a little bit about myself, but it's under Timothy, Timothy. But I think I'm going to read one to you today on this whisper. So, here we go. It is entitled, When You Think of Me. It was written June 21st of 2010. It's kind of a song. First verse. I once knew a man who didn't know what he had. He complained and he whined and sounded quite sad. Every moment, every act a chore. I don't think he even loved his family much anymore. This man, who thought he was the center of the universe, held his elderly parents as a curse. He was cruel as any human could be. When I look back, that man was me. Chorus. Time moves on, it often seems to fly. Your time on earth is brief, a blink of an eye. Who you are, and what you do, reflects how others will remember you. When you think of me, is it all sadness and bitter memories? When you think of me, do you remember any sincerity? Verse 2. What happened to the friends he used to know? What a hard row he decided to hoe. No one forgives when you break their heart. That man really tore them apart. None can get close to him now. He's as untouchable as any cloud. But untouchable means when you need it, there's no hand. And that man really was not much of a man. Repeat chorus. Time moves on, it often seems to fly. Your time on earth is brief, a blink of an eye. Who you are, and what you do, reflects how others will remember you. When you think of me, is it all sadness and bitter memories? When you think of me, do you remember any sincerity? And that's the end. I have a lot. Some are better than others. Some are like song form like this, and others are just simple 3-stanza poems. But if you feel the urge, and if you like songs and poetry, check it out. Okay, thank you for listening tonight, and I hope to get another one out soon. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.